our berth. The season is in its final stretch, and the Athletics are tied for first in the AL West. Game 2, A's Rangers, next. Tuesday night baseball coming up from the Coliseum, and it's going to be a nice night for baseball as we get set for Game 2 of this 3-game series. Adrian Beltre and the Rangers try to bounce back tonight, and they'll try to do it against the big fella, Bartolo Colon. So it's the Texas Rangers and the Oakland A's, and it's coming up right here on Comcast Sportsnet California. There's your standings, folks. 25 games left in the season, and the A's and the Rangers are all tied on top of the AL West. And the A's, of course, have the top spot in the American League wild card situation. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. Bartolo Colon will make his second start off the disabled list, and mixed reviews on his start in Detroit. He pitched well at times. He got the win, gave up 7 hits in 5 innings, so we'll keep an eye on Colon tonight.
Well, he needs to keep the ball down, which he did in that start, and if he does that, I don't think the velocity really matters that much. I think the biggest thing for him tonight, he's facing a team over his career. He's had a lot of success. He's won 14 this year, 19 wins against the Rangers in his great career. So at least from that standpoint, he has to feel very good about this start against the Rangers. The A's know how important tonight's win is, and I think Bartolo feels the same.
Well, even good lineups struggle at times, and that's what's happening with the Rangers right now. 8 runs scored in their last 4 games, Ray. They get a chance to drive in a guy. They have not been doing it lately.
Boy, it's surprising. I thought this at bat, Lance Berkman did a great job. Otero looking for a ground ball, a fly ball. For some reason, Beltre did not score. And then David Murphy, also another chance. He hits a ground ball to the right side. Just time after time. This one, the big one, the 9th inning. Kinsler and Beltre, runners at second and third, down by 2. Both times they swung at the first pitch. Very surprising, but Graham Balfour, who admitted didn't have a lot of great stuff, made the pitches at the right time to get the 2 big outs. And, of course, with the A's win, they have tied the Rangers for the top of the Western Division.
Indeed, and somebody's going to finish this ball game with first place all to themselves. Will it be the A's or will it be the Rangers? It'll be Colon and the young left-hander, Martin Perez. There's your pitching matchup. We'll give you the lineups, and we'll have first pitch when we come back to the Coliseum. It's the A's and the Rangers with first place on the line.
is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Go big at a participating Jack in the Box with Jack's really big chicken sandwich combos for only $3.99 plus tax.
A's take the field, and they are set to go for the second game of this three-game series. The Rangers and the Athletics. A's won yesterday, Labor Day game. And tonight here at the ballpark, let's check the weather. It's presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is open this weekend. 69 degrees, a little breezy tonight. So a little bit cooler tonight than we've had on this homestand. Let's look at the Rangers lineup tonight. Craig Gentry is the speedy one in center field. Lead off. Profile short. Kinsler at second. Beltre, good numbers against Cologne in his career. Brzezinski, Rios, Moreland, Berkman, and Murphy.
And Bartolo Colon looking for win number 15 and number 20 against the Rangers. Those are the numbers, making his 26th start. So Bartolo Colon coming off the start against the Tigers, in which he went 5 innings. Gave up just a run, but unfortunately, the Tigers came back and won the game. But Bartolo pitched well, kept the ball down. Like to do the same tonight.
His first pitch to Gentry, who shows bunt, and it's high.
He wants to show off his speed the first pitch, doesn't he? Gentry's got some speed.
He's fast. Yeah. 253 with a couple of home runs. A good on-base percentage for Gentry. And it's 2-0. Profar to follow, and then Kinsler. A's won yesterday 4-2. And as we know, these two teams tied 79 and 58. Sitting atop the AL West with 25 to play, including tonight.
Australia got to 8 wins yesterday. A lot of bullpen help, but he left at the right time after Coco Crisp hit the home run.
Gentry rips one to left field, and that's a base hit. So leadoff single for the Rangers. That'll bring up Jerks and Profile. Defensively, the Athletics have Cespedes, Young, and Choice. Michael Choice in right field. Donaldson, Lowry, Cayespo, Fryman. On the infield with Kurt Suzuki doing the catching. So Michael Choice was the DH yesterday, and he's getting a chance to be out in the field for the first time.
Talk about September baseball, and also no shadow or no sun for the Shadows in right field because of the September time of the year. But so Michael, in a sense, a little bit lucky because normally the right field has got sun for at least a couple of innings.
Oh, 0-1 to Profar, 233 with 5 home runs, 23 RBIs. And there's another strike. The difference between these two teams, the Rangers have lost 3 out of 4, so they're struggling some. The A's, on the other hand, have won 4 in a row and have won 7 out of their last 8. So at least at this point, the Rangers struggling, the A's are heating up. This one is popped up. Donaldson will have a play. And he's got it for out number 1.
Some great pitches thrown by Bartolo Colon.
Lost to Seattle on August 21st. That's when Bob Melvin was not a happy camper in the post-game press conference. And you could hear it in his voice, and he did not like the way his team was playing.
Well, the Diamond Vision prior to every home game, they keep going back to last season, the end of the season, especially against the Rangers and division series. But that is then, and this is now, and that's what Bob Melvin basically telling them. A new season, and while things worked out great last year, doesn't guarantee this year. And I think he had just gotten to the point that enough was enough.
Kinsler hitting .273 with 11 home runs and 58 RBIs. And that one is lined to left center field. That's a base hit. And Gentry is going to try for third, and he'll make it as the throw goes into second base. So Kinsler has a line single. First and third with one out here in the bottom or in the top of the first. So the pitches that have been hit hard, Ray, have been up.
That's right, and they're fastballs, of course, and to Profar, good movement. This one he tried to go to the back door with the two-seam fastball, but Kinsler, like Gentry, just a very nice, easy swing. Gentry, tremendous speed, and great job by Chris Young cutting the ball off in left center. Gentry probably thinking about scoring. If the ball definitely would have gotten the wall, he would have scored.
Here's the cleanup hitter, Adrian Beltre. Takes a strike. Expo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. But that pitch to Kinsler that he hit really was a better pitch than I thought. It was down around the knees.
But a controlled swing by Kinsler. And normally he's trying to pull everything, which that one was pulled, but it's usually down the line. Very powerful hitter.
Beltre fouls it back, so the count is 0-2. Beltre with 28 home runs and 82 RBIs, having a terrific season. Third in the league in hitting.
He is probably thinking right field. He's trying to avoid hitting a ground ball, does not want to roll over on the pitch. On the slider.
Lays off.
It was in Arlington, Texas, when Colon threw a 2-0 slider to Beltre, and of course he was looking fastball and rolled over, hit a ground ball to third base. So that is a new pitch, or a pitch that Bartolo likes to throw, especially with an aggressive hitter like Beltre.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Big strikeout early.
Supposed to be a fastball inside. It stayed down, but right down the middle of the plate. And Beltre swung at a pitch. Really, that was out of the strike zone. And had he made contact, it might have been a 6-4-3 double play. No contact, though. And a huge strikeout. Once again, a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. And Beltre not able to get him in.
So one more to get here to keep the Rangers off the board in the first. It's Brzezinski. I don't think there's any doubt, Ray, the most common thing that happens to teams when they're struggling and losing streak is the inability to get a big hit.
Yeah.
Or to execute offensively.
Well, it's usually just trying too hard.
Exactly.
Too much pressure on themselves instead of being their normal way of hitting and playing the game, which easier said than done in most cases.
So we noted earlier that Rangers won for their last whatever with runners in scoring position. They know that.
Sure
they may not know the exact number, but they know they're not executing offensively.
Remember, not too long ago, the A's were going to do the same thing.
Exactly.
You know, they were getting base runners, and especially bases loaded, nobody out, couldn't score.
And really, sometimes it just takes a 2-out hit to just kind of take the pressure off a little bit.
Well, Brzezinski's thinking about it right now. Fastball off the plate inside, so he's gone fastball in, fastball away, fastball in, all three off the plate. And again, under the circumstances, will he be swinging 3-0? Shall see. Surprised he was not.
So the count now 3-1. Chris Guccione is behind the plate calling balls and strikes tonight. Tom Hallion is your crew chief, and he is at second base.
Brzezinski's seen 4 fastballs. Coco will lead off as a DH tonight.
Brzezinski rips one toward left center field. Great catch by Young. He got a jump. He leaped up right at the last second. And a line shot by Brzezinski, but the A's had a man there. And the Rangers, once again, first and third, 1 out, and they do not score. at the A's lineup. It'll be Chris, the DH, and then Donaldson, Lowry, Cespedes, Fryman, Callaspo, Young, Suzuki, and Choice.
The lefty, Martin Perez, and the A's saw him last year and actually beat him a game in which the A's got some help from Josh Hamilton, who was playing center field. But he has been outstanding. Martin Perez has. He's won all 5 starts. He's got a 5-game winning streak. 5 starts in August, won all 5.
Let's look at the defense for the Rangers. Murphy, Gentry, Rios in the outfield. Beltre, Profar, Kinsler, Moreland on the infield. Brzezinski, again, the catcher. So Elvis Andrus out again tonight. Back is bothering him just a little bit. So the young left-hander Martin Perez. First pitch to Coco Crisp is a fastball in the first round. 258, 17 home runs, 50 RBIs. 17th home run. Of course, yesterday, a big one. Had to be reviewed, but umpires got the call right the first time. And verified it with the review. And there's a shot headed for the left field corner. And Coco is going to hustle into second, and he's got a leadoff double. Boy, has he been playing terrific or what?
Right down the middle, bell tie, 86, and Coco. The best thing, watch him run because he is running quite well. And as we mentioned, it seemed that Bob Melvin had been using Coco as the DH against lefties. He is running great. And considering he had to leave the game yesterday, the right shin was hit hard with a foul ball, but did hit the home run from the right side. Right down the line, and just enough off the foul pole.
Donaldson takes a rip, fouls it straight back.
This was yesterday as he hit left side and check the right leg, right below the knee, right on the shin. And as my partner said, ow. He said no meat around the bone. No meat on the bone for sure, on the shin bone.
Gentry into right center field. Coco's going to tag. Gentry squares up. He's got it. He's got a good arm. The throw to third is cut off, and Coco makes it easily to third. So a productive out for Donaldson.
It's amazing. Donaldson looked like it was just going to be a routine fly ball, but it kept carrying. You're right, Gentry's strong arm, but the ball started to tail a little bit, and Profar had to cut it off before it did reach third base. So A's with an opportunity. Jed Lowry, one of the hottest hitters, and Donaldson, although made an out, a productive out, getting Coco to third base where he stands at only 1 out.
So the Rangers had a runner at third with 1 out, could not get him home in the top of the first. A's have a runner at third, 1 out in the bottom of the first, and the infield comes in for Texas. First pitch is a breaking ball, and that's called a strike. And that's the called strike that hitters hate, because in their eyes it went around the plate.
Well, it's also from the pitcher standpoint, a curveball first pitch. Figures the hitter's going to be taking, which Lowry did, thinking it was out of the strike zone. And so it's a win-win for the pitcher. Perez fastball will top out at about mid-90s. He has traditional pitches for a starter, to enforcing fastball, curve, slider, and changeup. With veteran catcher Brzezinski, he'll use all of his pitches.
Pop up right side, foul. Remember, in spring training, Martin Perez was pitching in a game on the 3rd of March and was struck by a line drive on the left wrist, and it was a broken wrist, so he was out for a while. Went to the minor leagues, made some starts in the minor leagues. Has pitched well at the big league level. To right field, Rios over. Rios has it. Coco tags. Throw home is late, and the A's execute something the Rangers could not do. And the A's lead 1-0.
Ken Lowry did what I thought Adrian Beltre would do, or at least attempt to do, is go to the right side. And that is a great at bat. Of course, the speed by Coco Crisp with a double to third on Donaldson's fly ball, and another fly ball. And Lowry with 2 strikes protecting the pitch away, and amazingly the ball carried tremendously, and Rios just no chance. No chance at all to throw out the speedy Coco Crisp.
I'm telling you, Ray, that's the difference between a team that has won 7 out of 8 and a team that has lost 3 out of 4. There's no question about it.
Great point. And you go back to yesterday, as we showed in the open, with the runners in scoring position, not being able to get them in.
There's a base hit to right field for Cespedes. He hits it hard.
And I still say, if that man continues to do that, he's going to have a monster month of September, and hopes to have it even bigger one in October. He's not pull conscious. That pitch outside corner. What a great swing. Tailor-made to go to the opposite field with a fastball away from him. Look at the gap. The big hole is Kinsler expecting him to pull the ball near second base positioning. And 21 to the right side, but he's a total of 69 to left field or center field. So did not open up on that one. Hit it perfectly to right field.
So here's Fryman, 275, 4 home runs, 23 RBIs.
Rangers starting back-to-back lefties, so the right-handed lineup is in.
That's a swing, says Ron Kulpa. So 1-1 to Fryman, with Callaspo hoping to get a chance to hit in this inning.
Well, he started, and this call went against Fryman, which is a good call by Ron Kulpa at first.
And that one somehow rolls back toward the pitcher, and whatever it hit it direct. Shin rolled 2/3 of the way back to the pitcher's power.
That's a shin guard contact, and Brzezinski hit it right on the left, below the left knee on the shin guard, and that's why it carried him so hard back towards the mound. So that's your wild pitch there. But a ball bouncing that far out in front of the plate, and all Brzezinski did was just try to get his body in front of it, and hit it. Instead of hitting softly, it hit hard.
So now the A's with a runner in scoring position. This one popped up foul, so the count now 2-2. So the A's strike first here in the first inning.
Holland had an 8-pitch first inning yesterday against the A's. 1-2-3, and then the A's struck in the second, scoring a couple of runs.
Fryman tries to hold up on a slider. He can't do it. Side retired. Run on a couple of hits, including a sacrifice fly. 1-0 A's after 1. by cloudy with a chance of meatballs in theaters September 27th. There's the new Bay Bridge open last night. So that one is hit high to left center, but playable. Chris Young has it. It's out there. I'm sure the Tampa Bay Rays will be thrilled to hear that the bridge opened up last night. Right on schedule, even a little bit ahead of schedule.
Yeah, Bartolo Colon 36 for 43 in shutdowns, but you know, while the players might have complained, Tampa Bay Rays players, Mickey Morbido, the A's director of team travel, told the Rays director of team travel in spring training, be prepared for the bridge close. He told them. He told them, definitely do not get in a taxi or a car because it's going to take forever. But Mickey did his job, and that's all he could do. You're right. The Rangers, the Seattle Mariners were in a few years ago when it was closed. They had to deal with it. But the Rangers, although it was Labor Day, they made it easily because of very little traffic.
Yep. 2-0 to Mitch Moreland, 243 with 21 home runs. That one on the inside corner, 2-1. The Rangers had first and third and one out in the first inning and did not score. This one's popped up. Cespedes in, Lowry out. Cespedes is there, and he's got it.
But he came a long way, and it came very quickly, very fast, because he knew the shift. 3 infield to the right side is going to be tough for Donaldson and for Lowry, but just a sprint. Watch him come in right in the screen out of nowhere, and here comes Cespedes, and got there easily. But what tremendous speed. He looked quickly. I got it, and he does have it. 5-tool player.
So here's Lance Berkman. He's the designated hitter again. He was the DH yesterday. I think his at bat in yesterday's game, in my humble opinion, Ray, was the biggest at bat of the game. It was in the 6th inning. And the A's leading 4-2, bases loaded, 1 out, and he hit a line drive, had a good at bat, hit a line drive. And Young came in, he made a nice shoestring catch. So luckily for the A's, it didn't fall for a hit, and then Beltre didn't tag up and score.
Great location again, keeping the fastball down. But Adrian Beltre's comment was that he thought that maybe Chris Young would catch it on a short hop and throw him out at the plate. That's, I mean, but
I don't know.
You know,
when was the last time you saw that?
Well, exactly. And you know, anytime the ball's in the air, it's not like it was a bloop that you go halfway in case it drops. It was a line drive. Chris Young just happened to catch the ball because it was a difficult play for him. Momentum coming in, but Beltre's tagging. I don't even know if there's a throw that comes to the plate.
They were not going to get him if he goes. Young goes back, and he's got it. That's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Bartolo Colon. Bottom of the second coming up, 1-0 Athletics. Lowry sacrifice fly. And that has the A's leading 1-0. Kayaspo to lead it off, followed by Young and Suzuki. First pitch is a little bit low from Martin Perez. .280, Kayaspo's average with the Athletics. And now he's ahead in the count 2-0.
If you remember the game last summer in Arlington that Perez started in the first inning, that Josh Hamilton just played a couple of balls that helped the A's score early, and really it's no fault to Perez. He probably could have got out of the inning with just giving up 1 run, but the ball on the ground that was misplayed, and then a fly ball in left field that Hamilton overran. A's took advantage and helped them win the game.
He made 6 starts last year total. 3 of them were against the A's, and that start that Ray's talking about really pumped up that ERA. There's a line drive right center field at Ace Hill. Kayaspo has a leadoff single. Here's our Ford right choice. Congratulations to Brandon Moss. He was named the American League Player of the Week this week. 4 home runs, 11 RBIs as he made Comerica Park look small, which is very difficult to do. 4-game series in Detroit. So congratulations to Moss. And because he won, he gets the night off.
That's what Bob Melvin said. He said, isn't it amazing? He said, I don't know who talked the most to the press, Brandon Moss or me. Haven't explained why he's the Player of the Week and not in the lineup. But, you know, Brandon Moss, what a kind gentleman. He is so appreciative of the opportunity to be here.
Rios reaches down, and right at the last minute, he grabbed it. That ball was sinking and kind of dying to the right. And Rios, right at the last minute, he reached down to catch it.
Yeah, that's like a great 2-seam fastball. Starts up and then just a dive quickly, and he had to catch it around the knees. I think he thought it was going to be a little bit easier of a play, but ended up not panicking, which good outfielders don't anyway. But Chris Young, good chance, good opportunity to go to the right field.
Fastball drops low to Suzuki. One of those games of teams we're keeping an eye on are going final. The Yankees had a big comeback win over the White Sox at home tonight. Yankees were losing 4-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning, and they scored 5 times and won 6-4. So the Yankees continue to put themselves right in the middle of the mix. Coming into tonight, the Yankees were 2.5 games behind the Rays. The Rays are that second wild card team. Of course, the A's and the Rangers are tied for the West, and they're also tied for the #1 wild card team. But the Yankees are making it very, very interesting. They had a huge win tonight. Shallow right center. Kinsler goes out, but Rios comes in, and Rios is going to take care of it. The Indians beat the Orioles 4-3 in Cleveland. So that series evened up at a game apiece. So the Indians, who had lost 6 out of 7, get a much needed win at home as they continue to hang around in that wild card race. The Red Sox beat the Tigers 2-1 at Fenway. So good pitching in that series. The Tigers won last night 3-0. Red Sox win tonight 2-1.
Scherzer get the loss?
Scherzer get the loss?
I think he did. Yes, he did. So he's 19-2. Back-to-back starts that he probably could have lost. The game last Thursday that he pitched, that the Tigers came back and beat the A's late. So Elroy Face's percentage of winning percentage is safe. He was 18-1 as a closer, as a reliever. And with the loss, the second loss, that changes everything for Scherzer. It's nice that Elroy Face's name comes back to light a little bit with Scherzer having a great season. But Red Sox, John Lester against Scherzer. A very good pitching matchup tonight.
Choice swings and misses, and the count is 2-1. So the Red Sox get their 83rd win of the year. They have the best record in the American League.
Off-speed pitch 2-0, and that's pretty much A.J. Przinsky, the catcher, making the calls on those pitches, especially 2-0 in hitters counts.
Good pitch there, and now it's 2-2. I would say Perez. I think Choice will see a lot of pitches like that.
Oh, yes.
At the big league level. Yeah, that's a good pitch right there, and that's the second strikeout for Martin Perez. So Callaspo had a leadoff single, nothing else for the A's. 1-0 Athletics after 2.
Sure to take advantage of the Xfinity Friday Family Pack presented by Xfinity and co-sponsored by the Contra Costa Times. Every Friday home game, you can get 4 Plaza level tickets, 4 Coliseum hot dogs, 4 medium Pepsis, and 4 bags of peanuts. It's just $50. Tickets are limited, so act fast. For more information and tickets, go to OaklandAthletics.com/Friday.
Top of the third, it'll be Murphy Gentry Profar against Cologne, who had a wiggle out of some trouble in the first inning. 3 up, 3 down, second inning. Callaspo throws high, and Nate Fryman leaps up to get it, but Murphy shoots right by him, and Murphy's aboard. And it's a base hit.
Now once he got over Bartolo's head, he's hoping, and Callaspo, the third baseman's on from second base, but as he flipped it just a little bit too high. Murphy can get down the line, especially smelling a hit, as anybody can. Boy, is there.
So here's Gentry, who lined the single to left field to lead off the game. And he bounces this one over the head of Donaldson, who was playing in. And Gentry is 2 for 2, and the Rangers got something going here in the third. What can you do, Ray? You play in, and just a chopper right over your head.
Yeah, that's what possible bunt will do, and right in front of the plate, and Donaldson on the grass. And you'd have to think, if he's normal position, that's a possible double play. Of course, Gentry has the speed, but You try to take away the bunt. He took it away and really helped Gentry getting the ball over his head.
So here's Jerks and Profar. Profar popped out to third. Donaldson in again. So is Fryman. Profar shows bunt, and he bunts it out in front. Suzuki grabs it, fires to third, and timeout has been called, I believe.
Foul.
They're calling a foul ball. So Suzuki made a nice play, but Scuccioni immediately called it a foul ball.
Oh, he hit the bat twice. Yeah. Ball came up, hit the bat, and Donaldson wasn't on the bag at third, so maybe he had seen the umpires throw up their hands indicating a foul ball.
Another bunt attempt, this one to Colon. He's going to throw to first in time. So Profar does his job with the sacrifice, and it's second and third and one out.
Couldn't do it yesterday, get the bunt down, but he was able to hit a ground ball to first base. But
now batting, number 5,
on Washington, probably had him working on it early today.
So here's Kinsler, who had a base hit in the first inning. Another runner at third, and one out situation for the Rangers. First pitch is a fastball called a strike.
Chris Scuccioni indicated he likes the high strike. He's called it a few times tonight.
That one runs inside, 90 miles an hour from Cologne. Murphy at third, Gentry at second. Outfield straightaway for Kinsler. He fouls it back. Cologne keeping it away from Kinsler.
Amazing thing with the fastball. These hitters know that Bartolo's throwing a fastball, but they talk about the four quadrants, you know, the up, down, high and tight, blown away and up. And I mean, he uses all four, and that's what makes the fastball so good for him.
Kinsler lays off. 2-2 the count.
So that's a pitch Beltre swung it out of the first inning. Suzuki wanted the fastball in, but Bartolo, and that's what we talked about earlier, where he might try to get a little bit extra on his fastball, and if he does, in this case, he's overthrowing it and not hitting his location.
Kinsler hits it hard and foul as Suzuki set up inside for the fastball. Cologne got it in there. Well, Kinsler, you know, a good power hitter. We've seen him hit lots of home runs, but he does not strike out a lot. He's only struck out 43 times this year. That's a very low amount. Cologne needs one here.
Got a slider in the dirt.
And he got it. How about that?
You know, he throws so few sliders, guys, that when he does, that's usually the result. Look at the sharp bite on this one. Down, and Kinsler with the uppercut swing, no stride, no contact. There's the slider spin. Boy, what a beautiful pitch. And again, it was against the Rangers middle of the season that he started to break it out a little bit more. But a big strikeout, especially if you can get Beltre.
Beltre bounces one foul. So Cologne gets ahead of the Rangers cleanup hitter. That one grounded toward Donaldson, who scoops it up, throws, and Cologne gets out of it again. So it goes for the Rangers. Second and third, one out, and they do not score. 1-0 A's lead. Now in that wild card. Top of the order for the Athletics, and Coco bounces the first one to Beltre, fires to first, and that's out number 1. Well, how about this weekend, Ray? It'll be the Yankees hosting the Red Sox for a 4-game series.
That's a big rivalry regardless.
Yeah.
And even bigger this year, considering where the Red Sox are leading the division and what the Yankees are trying to accomplish. And it was that Red Sox series against the Yankees at Fenway Park when Dempster hit Alex Rodriguez and kind of wakened the sleeping giant, because they've played very well since then.
I looked at the Red Sox schedule. This is what they have coming up. At New York for 4, at the Rays for 3, and then they host the Yankees for 3, and they host the Orioles for 3. So they're going to stay right in their division. The Red Sox are trying to win it. They got what is now a 6-game lead in that division. The Yankees are moving.
Well, you figure with that schedule that you just mentioned, if they win, then kudos to Joe Girardi and the Yankees, because that's a tough schedule.
Yeah.
Good teams are playing, and the schedule makers did at least at the interdivisional play and then final month of the season.
The Red Sox have now won 8 out of their last 10.
Was it our good friend Shooty Babbitt said people don't watch the scoreboard?
I do.
So do I.
That one is going to get down, and it's going to be extra bases. And it's going to be a double for Donaldson. So Donaldson in scoring position with 1 out, thanks to his 30th double of the year.
Well, stayed inside on the fastball, got ahead with 2 fastballs, thus below a missed location, and Donaldson waited and used the power going down the right field line, and that came close to being a home run, as he did against Villarreal of the Tigers for a walk-off. But strength on an inside fastball And an easy double for him.
So Lowry steps in. He had a sacrifice fly in the first inning, picking up his 59th RBI.
How about that for Donaldson? He's 43 hits to right field. That's impressive. 31 to center, so it's not that he's always trying to pull the ball. He's a smart hitter. Looks for certain pitches, and if he gets them, he can do some serious damage.
Outside. Cespedes in the on-deck circle. Shallow right center. Rios slides over. He's got it for out number 2.
Fans, even if you aren't an A's season ticket holder, you can still get 2013 postseason rights to place a deposit on a 2014 A's ticket plan and secure your place in line for 2013 playoff tickets. For more information, call 510-638-GO-A's or go to oaklandathletics.com/deposit. Have to wonder now. They're going to put him on, I think. So Brzezinski standing put up 4 fingers, so. Nope, they're going to pitch to him. I was just going to say, if he does the same thing he did last time, a fastball away going to right field, the A's are going to score another run. And again, Kinsler playing Cespedes to pull, playing near second.
Pitching him outside, and he takes a strike.
Running off as much as he can at first base, but Kinsler's the one. They're expecting Cespedes to pull, but more and more Chili Davis has him using the whole field, especially the way they're pitching.
Brzezinski blocks that one. 1-1 the count.
Brzezinski does a good job, good technique. As long as he's caught, he's had a lot of opportunities to block pitches in the dirt, so you figure he should be good.
Going through the signs with Donaldson at second base. And that one rolled into the hole. Diving play by Profar. And now they're going to have Donaldson, and he is going to be out at home plate. As long as Brzezinski holds on to it, he does. Taps Donaldson on the back, and that's how the bottom of the third comes to an end. So Profar made a terrific play. Donaldson just kept running, and he was out by quite a bit. 1-0 A's. last half inning.
You always want to see infielders, and I don't think Donaldson maybe did not see Profar catch the ball, but one thing he did do, Gaggs was trying to hold him up there, but he wasn't looking at Mike Gallego. He thought maybe the throw was going to go to first, and once he saw it come to the plate, then at least tried his football skills.
That's surprising. He never looked at Mike Gallego.
Nope.
So a little action at home plate. Brzezinski tapped him on the back, and they both went on their way. And now it's 0-2 to Brzezinski. Most consecutive seasons of 100 or more games caught. 13 by Brzezinski, so he has been a good player for a long time. Pitches in the dirt. Rios to follow, and then Moreland here in the top of the fourth. That one towards Cespedes, who goes back, and he's got it.
Well, you remember this play, and he's trying to come from behind. And Cespedes hit a ball in the center field. It was bobbled. Donaldson running through, stop sign, maybe again, and play at the plate. Brzezinski with a swipe tag. And a little bit of motion is Gallego tried to stop him there. He could not get by the tag.
Well, you don't see a game end like that very often. No. Rios hit a fly ball to center field in the second inning.
Maybe Gaggs should just send him on everything.
He's going to go anyway.
Yeah, might as well have him keep running hard.
It's always shocked me how often players do not look at the third base coach. It's puzzling to me.
But especially on a play like that, because it's sliders from Bartolo to Rios. They stayed with the sliders.
Well, that's strikeout number 3.
Great slider again. The biggest one was to Kinsler, but just as big to Rios. See the rotation and a little drop right at the end. But, you know, it's hard to say. When Profar, and that's what you want to see an infielder do, dive to keep the ball from going to the outfield, especially with 2 outs. But the funny thing was watching Donaldson, because he looked back, he knew that he caught the ball. And I guess he thought he was going to throw to first. Well, he's not going to throw out Cespedes. He should have known that. But that's where you definitely pick up your third base coach. Gaggs knew, and that's usually what a third base coach will say to a runner at second. If a ball's caught, watch me. Keep an eye on me. And one thing for sure, at least Donaldson didn't just walk into a tag. At least he tried to dislodge the ball from Brzezinski. Didn't work, but at least he made an effort.
One and one to Moreland, who fly ball to Cespedes in the second inning. That one's driven to right. Choice back, and Moreland has hit his 5th home run against the A's this year, and this one ties the game at 1. 22nd home run overall.
He's a dangerous hitter, and to get a pitch that he got, I'm not surprised. This was 83 miles per hour. And it's almost like a batting practice fastball. With his power, not surprised that it did go. And been throwing sliders to the right-handers, and it's like a changeup or a batting practice fastball that was very, very hittable.
So 1-1 game, and Berkman steps in. Berkman rolls over on it. Fryman picks it up right next to the backside. Retired. Moreland, 22nd home run of the year. So we're going to the bottom of the 4th. Tied at 1. Sports at California is brought to you by GoPro, the world's most versatile camera. GoPro, be a hero. Nice night at the Coliseum. September baseball, September 3rd. The Big A is here. People think the Big A is actually the stadium in Anaheim. It is not. The Big A is that guy right there. He's the Big A. So Anaheim does not have a patent on the Big A. Fryman is retired. Here's our true story brought to you by McDonald's. On this date 11 months ago, the Athletics clinch your 15th American League West title right here at the Coliseum. 6 in a row. The final week clinched the division by 1 game, sweeping the Rangers. Not a year ago, 11 months ago.
I like that.
That's right. It was October 3rd. So we'll always enjoy that final homestand of the year last year, especially the last 3 games. But as you said, it's fun to talk about, and I think it's always going to be something we remember. But it's a different year.
Yeah, it's just the memories. That's it. I mean, Travis Blackley's sitting in the dugout of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, so is Adam Rosales.
Yeah, in game 161. It was, there they are sitting together, I guess.
You know what they're saying? I remember that last game here. It was crazy, wasn't it? Didn't have to be a strike, but it was called. 1-2-2 to Kyle. Goes for a little walk.
Well, he thought it'd be 3-1 like it was his first at bat when he got a base hit. The high strike to have been called by Uccione. That was, though, a little bit too high.
Count remains 2-2. Well, this year the Rangers end the season at home with a 4-game series against the Angels. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And of course the A's will end in Seattle. The A's will have an off day that final week of the season. It'll be 3 in Anaheim, 3 in Seattle. That's a fair ball right behind the bag. Beltre guns it across. So 2 away here in the bottom of the fourth. And here's our trivia question brought to you by AT&T. Who are the 3 winning pitchers for the A's in their season-ending sweep of the Rangers last year? If you think you know the answer, tweet us at CSN Athletics. 3 winning pitchers. Keep that in mind.
That's right.
Remember the final game, the A's starter got knocked out. The A's were down in that game.
And the winning pitcher in that game was just recalled today. Give you a little hint on the at least the 3rd game. But this year the season ends on September the 29th. So we're not going to be able to show October 3rd to the actual day, as was the case last year.
Oh, that's right.
Matter of fact, the playoffs will begin by then. See, the announcement came out today by Major League Baseball as far as the
that's right.
The announcement is in October 1st, the National League wild card.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Hit well, right center. Gentry is at the wall, reaches down, makes the catch. Side retired. 3 up, 3 down inning for Perez. 1-1 game after 4. Three more players brought up today from the minor leagues. Malone, Scribner, and Nishak. So familiar names, but they are back. Steve Vucinich is running out of room in the clubhouse, but he can handle it.
You see the auxiliary lockers in there. You know that something's going on with Vuce.
Murphy, Gentry, Profar here in the top of the 5th inning. It is a 1-1 game. See, they're not even under the cover anymore, right? They get.
Well, that cover's not a cover, really. Anyway.
No,
it's just there for the looks. Maybe they keep peanuts.
Those guys they've bent it around a little bit to get a better view, get a straight-on look at home plate. The Rangers relievers. Cespedes has been busy tonight. He's got it. Murphy is retired for out number 1. So Murphy 1 for 2.
Now batting, number 23, Craig Gentry.
Gentry, the leadoff hitter, he's done his thing tonight. He's 2 for 2. And both times he has got himself into scoring position, but Rangers have not been able to get him home. Fastball for a strike from Cologne at 91 miles an hour. .57 pitches for Cologne. And his last start in Detroit, when he went 5 innings, he threw 73 pitches. Gentry thought about bunting, and he pulled the bat back, and it was called a strike. Ended up being looked like a pretty good pitch to bunt.
He does a fastball at 91, which means that's a four-seam fastball, and Gentry did pull it back and down the middle. We saw Profar yesterday pull the bat back on a couple of sacrifice attempts that were down the middle. If there's movement, that's one thing, but that was a four-seam.
And that one is off Cologne, and that's going to be a base hit for the speedy Gentry.
Well, it's too bad because Cologne looked like he's going to have it easily. Going to handle it easily, and he just missed it. So with Gentry and his speed, you have to handle it. Otherwise, it's that far away from the pitcher, then there's no chance to throw him out. Made a good pitch, got it in on his hands. Cologne just reached up too far, which is proof that you can have all the PFP drills you want, have balls hit back at you, but when it comes off the bat, you have no clue how hard it's been hit, how soft it's been hit. Wow.
I wrote down base hit.
I did too.
We'll change that.
At this point in the season, players shouldn't care whether they get on base, how they get on base.
Gentry's a good base stealer. He's got 14 this year. He's been thrown out 3 times. With the Rangers struggling to score runs, see if Ron Washington tries to get things rolling.
Thought he'd run in the first inning, but he didn't. Thought he'd run in the second inning. Didn't have to because of the bunt.
Rangers have scored exactly 2 runs in each of their last 4 games. It's figured too good of an offense for that to continue for a real long stretch. But that is what is happening right now with the Rangers. Profar, a pop out and a sacrifice. Overall this year, the Rangers are 4th in the American League in total runs scored, 5th in home runs. They don't strike out very much, 2nd fewest strikeouts in the league. But not doing much right now.
Bartolo's pitching almost as if he thinks Gentry's going to be running because he's trying to a little slide step, which he gets rid of the ball quickly, but unfortunately, as he follows through, the ball is tailing off the plate out of the strike zone.
Gentry not running, and that one in for a strike to Profar.
Dave Anderson, the first base coach. Gary Pettis had been at first, now it's at third, so they do have the stopwatch, and Bartolo does get rid of the ball quickly. So if you're going on time, he is fast. That man was fast. Gary Pettis was fast when he's a player.
Now 3-1. Kinsler will be next, and it will be Beltre after Kinsler.
If he goes back inside with a fastball because the 3 pitches off the plate, just not finishing with his fastball. And if he pitches inside, which he did for the first strike, that's the type of pitch that he will complete his delivery.
And that one's hit down the right field line, and that's trouble, and that is off the base of the wall. It kicks away from Choice. Gentry digging around third. He's going to score. Profar with an RBI double, and the Rangers lead 2-1.
And again, Bartola, a pitch that not where he wanted it. Belt high. Profar got the count 3-1 and off the wall in right field. And Michael Choice, really unfamiliar with the park here at the Coliseum. And Gentry, well, you don't have to say anything more than that. He can run, and he was going to be sent home. Took a little bit longer stride as he approached third, but made it easy.
Looked like Ray Fosse running in his heyday. Really picking him up and laying him down.
Maybe when I was picking up hay out in the. That's. got past Michael Choice. He did recover, and the important thing, he kept Profar second and got to the ball quickly enough, and that's important. You don't want him at third with just one out.
Kinsler takes a bit outside. 1-1 the count. A little bit of a tough break for Michael Choice, Ray.
Yeah.
That ball hit down underneath that. See, that's concrete right at the bottom of the padding. You know, and the ball very seldom hits there, but if it does, you saw what happened. So normally a ball, it's going to hit the padding. It's going to land a little softer, but that one hit down at the bottom. There's not a lot you can do about it. I don't think you can anticipate the ball's going to hit that little 4-inch spot at the bottom of the wall.
Well, we see it down in the corner in foul territory when a ball hooks down, where it will get underneath, hit hard, and keep rolling around on the warning track.
1-2 to Kinsler, a single and struck out. That one is tapped foul. So pitch number 70 coming up from Cologne. Well, I think we know who their favorite player is.
They came all the way from Arlington, Texas to watch this game. They are enjoying this Bay Area weather.
Feels good if you live in Texas. This kind of weather feels really good. And that one off of Cologne, and Kinsler's going to have a hit. And now we have to keep our fingers crossed that Cologne is okay.
Well, the concern is that missed his glove, hit his body somewhere, which it must have, the way he's reacting. Right hand.
Well,
right hand.
yeah, I was going to say it. The glove was there, and it went right past the glove and then hit his throwing hand.
Right under, and you're right.
Well, I would say the thumb and the forefinger, probably a couple of pretty important digits.
For a pitcher. Yeah. You're right. And the way he was using his left hand, maybe trying to get some feeling back in those fingers, because the way he reacted, and and of course he's got to make a joke and look over to Cologne or to Kinsler and pull the ball. Why don't hit it, but pull the ball. Pointed left field.
So Cologne is okay, and here's that spot again, Ray. First and third, one out for the Rangers. So a run in on the Profar RBI double into the right field corner. Swing and a miss by Beltran, who was trying to make it a 5-1 game.
And you have to think, and this pitch up a little bit, not surprising. And if Beltran probably figured he's going to get a fastball, which he did, good location from Cologne, but if there's an effect of having soreness in your index finger and thumb, it's going to be forcing you probably to elevate your pitches, which that first one was.
And that's a shot, foul, and it's 0-2. The bullpen gets a little action.
One of the things that helped Cologne in those two pitches he didn't throw him the normal velocity. Maybe because he's not feeling it. Two fastballs inside. And we mentioned in Texas, the slider. Now he's going to go fastball again inside.
Runner goes, pitches low, and Kinsler is going to have a stolen base. So that's steal number 13 for Kinsler, and the Rangers, they steal a lot of bags. That's 111 now, second most in the American League. So that's certainly part of their game. Now it's 1-2, second and third. High fastball fouled straight back.
I would not take the chance of Adrian Beltre up with runners in scoring position too many times.
I wouldn't throw it up there again.
No, and just, you know, he had it yesterday at the ninth inning, 2 runners on, swung the first pitch. He's had it tonight a couple of times, runners on, but he's a dangerous hitter.
And he chops this one to third. Donaldson has it, he'll throw to first. Run comes in to score.
He thought he got Kinsler. He tried to tag him on the way by, and the third base umpire called him safe.
Well, that would have been a heck of a double play.
Yes, it would have.
Now batting.
High chopper. Watch Donaldson come in, and Kinsler is going to be right behind him as he makes the play, and he reached back right there, or reached forward, and did get the out at first, but he immediately thought he had touched him. He did miss him. Maybe he's looking for a ring out of the base pass, but you create your own base path, and he was okay.
So it goes as an RBI for Beltre, his 83rd, and now it's 3-1 with Kinsler at third. Did inside with the fastball.
And in this inning, it's been just the opposite of what happened yesterday, where the Rangers made some mistakes. The A's capitalized. In this inning, 2 balls back to the pitcher. Neither one able to be handled, and it's opened up the inning.
A little flare. Cayaspo hustling out. Cayaspo can't get it. It drops for a hit. Brzezinski thought about going to second, but Donaldson hustles over there. It's an RBI single for Brzezinski as Kinsler scores, and now it's 4-1. Nothing but a broken bat flare, but you put it in play, and this can happen.
He'll break a few bats. In this case, though, he drives in a run. I don't ever think it's very nice for the umpire to have the hitter look at him. The umpire winks at him. And that's not really, especially if that guy's got to be behind the plate calling balls and strikes tomorrow. But Ron Culpa must have a good relationship with Brzezinski. He continues to talk to him.
So Blevins now starts to throw, as it has been a tough inning for Bartolo Colon. So here's Rios. Brzezinski gets his 59th RBI. It all started with that 1-out error by Colon. Just a touch low with a fastball. Down the left field line, but it'll be foul. And Casey Chavez had a chance to make a nice play, but he couldn't do it. He's used to squatting to catch baseballs. When he stands up to catch him, he's not nearly as good.
Yeah, it's a different effect on a ball coming after him.
He stands up, he's off balance. He's not comfortable.
Phil Guerin, though, in case he missed it.
foul ball by Rios, who is going to fly ball to center field, and he has struck out. "27 pitches this inning, so Cologne was doing all right pitch-wise until this inning. It's now up to 80 total. Jared Parker in the middle. He will pitch tomorrow.
Well, if this is Bartolo Colon's last inning, it would be the same as was last Thursday when he pitched 5 innings. But in that game, he left with a 5-run lead. At this point, if it's his last inning, he's going to be on the negative side. So maybe that'll work in his favor. He did not get a win the last time. The Tigers came back.
Full count now to Rios, so Brzezinski will take off. He has a very, very small lead. So Fryman behind him. Brzezinski runs, and the pitch is looped into shallow right field. And coming in, Choice, and he caught it. Goes into a slide, and that's a nice play by the rookie Michael Choice in right field. 3 runs for the Texas Rangers. It's 4-1 Rangers as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Thank you very much. There's your wild card with the #1 spot, A's and the Rangers. And then the Rays have that 2nd spot. So the game's back. Yankees, Orioles, Indians, Royals are games back of the 2nd wild card team, which is the Rays. So there you go. Both the A's and the Rangers with 24 games left after tonight. For the A's, 12 home, 12 away. For the Rangers, 13 home, 11 away. Rangers will go to Anaheim this weekend, 3-game series. And then after that, they'll go home and they will host Pittsburgh Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Have Thursday off, and then they'll host the A's. So the Rangers have an interleague matchup against one of the better teams in the National League.
But good news for them, they get to use their DH.
Yep.
Because it's their home park, American League Park, and A's did go to Pittsburgh.
There's the rest of the schedule for the Rangers. Again, they finish at home with the Astros and the Angels. Big bouncer, Beltre backs up to grab it, throws in time to get Suzuki. So one out here in the bottom of the fifth. Here's our AT&T trivia answer. Who are the 3 winning pitchers for the A's in their season-ending 3-game sweep of the Rangers last season? It was Parker, Blackley, and Scribner. Scribner had that big game out of the bullpen the final day of the regular season when Griffin, I believe, got knocked out.
Yes, he did. As Evan, along with Tommy Malone, recalled today after the AAA season ended for the River Cats.
Breaking ball to Choice is low. Speaking of those Pirates, they won tonight. The second place team, the St. Louis Cardinals, lost. The third place team, the Cincinnati Reds, won in that very tight National League Central. Perez has it, fires to first, not in time. Choice beat it. Olin could not keep his foot on the ball. So there you have it, folks. Your first major league hit for Michael Choice, and he liked it out.
Take it, especially to swing hard. A swinging bunt, but that complete swing, that just shows his speed. Watch the follow through, a big follow through. And Martin looked like he'd had him, but pulled him off the bag, according to Ron Culpa. And there it is. And somebody of that family will get a baseball as a souvenir to hang on. And the teammates like it as well.
So congratulations to Michael Choice. Certainly hope there's many more of those. So a one-out base runner against Martin Perez, who has thrown 56 pitches, so his pitch count is very good. Changeup in for a strike, 83 miles an hour. I was starting to say a couple innings ago, Ray, about Martin Perez. Talking to some of the Rangers folks, they just said he's a little more of a finished pitcher this year than he was last year. He's still very young. He's only 22 years old, so he's got some learning to do. One bounced foul. And last year, you could see that he had pretty good stuff, but get through a second time through the lineup or third time through, he would start to struggle some. Much better this year with an 8-3 record. Also one of those names, Ray, where if the Rangers wanted a big bat, other teams said, well, we could start maybe with Martin Perez.
And they said no. Well, there's the Leonis Martin and a Martin Perez.
That's
right. They're both good.
That's right.
Martin, center fielder, has won some games. Started yesterday, has a very, very strong arm. Looked like he was looking for another assist when he missed the ball hit by Chris Young.
Strike 3 called, Coco Newell. Third strikeout for Perez.
Well, a hard slider. No swing, but caught enough of the plate.
Donaldson.
So Coco now 1 for 3, and here's Donaldson with 2 outs. Donaldson doubled in the 3rd. The average sitting at 291 for Josh. Shot just foul past Phil Cousin, third base umpire.
Donaldson sitting on 19 home runs, of course, career best. Back and forth last year between AAA and the big leagues, and settled in towards the end of the season. Has played almost every day at third since then.
That changeup, and Donaldson reached for it, but is able to stay alive, and the count remains 0-2.
Well, it was away, but at least he recognized the pitch, saw it's a changeup, kept the bat back enough at least to foul it.
Down and in. The Twins and the Astros are tied 6-6 in the 11th inning. And those are the 2 teams the A's will see next. It was breezy at the beginning of the game.
Only in the right field corner.
That's true.
Left field slightly. So wind will not knock down a Donaldson home run.
And he swings at a pitch in the dirt. Brzezinski picks it up, throws, and that'll do it. So a hit and a runner left. Michael Choice has his first major league base hit. It's an infield single, but the A's do not score.
After the A's take on the Minnesota Twins at 7:05 p.m. Join the Star Wars theme show from the outfield grass and be on the lookout for Star Wars characters roaming the ballpark throughout the game. On-field capacity is limited. Purchase a special field level ticket package at oaklandathletics.com/Star Wars to receive a limited edition Star Wars t-shirt while supplies last. Big Star Wars guy?
Not really.
Yeah.
No.
About Jack?
Never totally. No.
Well, if you're not, Jack would be.
Probably. Never totally got into the Star Wars thing. Not that
Jedi
probably should have. But it's time for change. Thanks Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Oil Change, Tune-Up, and Smog experts. Jerry Blevins takes over here in the 6th inning for Bartolo Colon. So Colon had one tough inning, and that was last inning where he gave up 3. His own error certainly hurt him.
Well, every pitching coach wants the pitcher to be a fielder. And we've talked about it where the ball is hit back, and sometimes you do not know how it's coming off the bat.
Good swing by Moreland. So 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, but only 1 earned run. So 83 pitches for Cologne. One to 2 the count to Moreland, who homered in the 4th to tie the game. He's been tough on the A's this year, especially here.
Yes, definitely here.
He's got 5 home runs against the A's this year. I want to say 4 of them are here. Is that right?
Yes, and I think you're right. We saw 2 in one game and 1 the next day, and tonight he's 5 are
all 5 are here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, the 4 in 1 series.
that's right.
I think the last series that came in, he wasn't even playing because on the disabled list, had a hamstring injury. Chavez gets loose, so the A's might be using a lot of those guys who've been sitting down the bullpen tonight.
Rolled foul. So the count remains 2-2.
This thing about the relievers, Bartolo Colon, unfortunate, just the 1 earned run, but mentioned error himself. But bullpen right now just trying to keep it at the 4 runs, not allow any more to score. Trying to see if their offense can come back, because this is the first time in how many games now the Rangers have scored more than just 2. So
4 games they scored 2 runs in each game. So this is a bonanza for them lately. Breaking ball, and Moreland strikes out. A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Eric's Deli Cafe, celebrating 40 years of bringing it to the plate. Stop by Eric's and enter to win 40 years of free sandwiches with character.
Number 15, Jeff Baker.
So we're going to have a pinch hitter. It's going to be Jeff Baker, who will hit for Berkman. Baker's a guy that has had a lot of success hitting left-handed pitching this year. Overall, .289 with 11 home runs. Inside, 2-0. Murphy, left-handed hitter, waits in the on-deck circle, and that one is down around the knees first time. Swing and a miss. Good changeup from Blevins. 83 miles an hour.
See the open stance by Baker and kind of closes it a little bit, but still opens up the hips, and good change up the outer part of the plate. Makes him very vulnerable to swing over the pitch the way he did. Open stance, and he does close it up a little bit, but first move is to open and try to pull the ball.
Takes that one outside. So now full count. Decision has been made.
That's a wheel of fortune. Just wait for it to stop.
And that one flared to right, and Choice is not going to be able to get this one. So Jeff Baker is a pinch hit RBI single. And let's check in with Scott in the studio for an October Quest update.
Now batting, number 7, David Murphy.
All right, so the Rays sitting in that number 2 wild card spot. They're also now 6 back of the Red Sox in the AL East. So they're not out of it in the division, certainly, but if you're 6 back with 23, 24, 25 games to play, you really can't afford to struggle a whole lot longer. The Rays have lost 7 out of their last 8. Donaldson hustling over, goes into a slide with the ball lands right on top of the dugout.
Kev, I don't think the Rays can expect the Red Sox to blow what?
Probably not.
Lose 19 games in September the way they did in 2011. No, it's not going to happen.
I don't think so either.
Stan Johnson's not in the Rays organization anymore, so he's not there to hit big home runs.
So 1-1 to Murphy, who has singled and hit a fly ball to left field. It'll be a day game tomorrow. We'll have it for you right here at Comcast Sportsnet California. Parker and Darvish, 12:35 first pitch. So that's a good pitching matchup. Another foul ball. Donaldson may have a play here by the tarp, and he goes into the tarp, and he caught it. Sensational play by Donaldson. He fell between the tarp and the padded sidewall, and he held on to it.
Baker was going to tag, but you can't just appreciate the great effort by Josh Donaldson, up, over, and in between. Fans were holding their hands up, and there goes Phil Cuzzy, the third base umpire, following. What a tremendous play, and especially to hold the glove up to show. That's the amazing part. As it goes in, the glove stays up to let everybody know he caught it. Unbelievable. What a great play by Josh Donaldson. Never gives up on anything.
All right, so we got a pitching change. We'll be back. Sensational play by Donaldson. By the Oakland Raiders. Season and single tickets are still available. Call 1-800-RAIDERS today. Raiders will open up at the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. So Jesse Chavez takes over. He'll face Gentry. Baker tagged up and went to second base, and then great play by Donaldson. So he's in scoring position. Gentry's been a thorn in the side tonight. 3 for 3. Make that 2 for 3. Single, reached on an air, scored a run. Shallow pop-up. Callaspo going out. Choice coming in. Choice goes into a slide, and he's got it. Side retired. So a couple of nice defensive plays by the A's. It's the Rangers 4. The A's 1. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Chevron to enhance the in-game experience on your computer, smartphone, or tablet. Follow the action on the diamond like never before with in-depth stats up to the second box scores and join the social buzz with other fans. A's In-Game Live presented by Chevron only at csncalifornia.com. Bottom of the 6th inning from the Coliseum with the Rangers leading the A's 4-1. So Texas trying to even up this series at a game apiece, but the A's still have 4 more at-bats to come back in this game. So Lowry, Cespedes, and Fryman. Martin Perez has been good. He's allowed 6 hits. He has not walked anybody. He has struck out 4. And this one's popped up. Moreland backs up. And he's got it. And that's out number 1. Seven of the last 8 have been retired by Perez. And he's only thrown 67 pitches. Cespedes with a couple of singles. So that's he's a welcome sight, as we all would love to see, and think how important it would be for Cespedes to get hot here in the month of September.
The nice thing about Cespedes is he wants to win a championship. He's playing Major League Baseball 2nd season, and start having success, which the A's went to postseason last year, and you start getting close again, you start thinking about the ultimate. That is the World Championship. So if that inspires him, then good.
Off the end of the bat. Flying in from center field is Gentry, and he made the catch. The play by Gentry.
MLB.com at bat is celebrating 5 years as your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At bat delivers A's baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, highlights, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit OaklandAthletics.com for details.
So here's Fryman, his third at bat, a strikeout and a ground out for Big Nate. Fastball is inside. Down around the knees. So Holland last night, he was not sharp. Perez pretty good tonight, and Darvish tomorrow. There's a shot, base hit left field past Beltre. So Fryman is aboard with a 2-out single, and Cayespo will hit.
Well, the best case scenario, Cayespo will get on, and Chris Young does what he does best, and that is a 3-run home run, because right now the A's are down 3, and Perez got the pitch up, and Big Nate drilled it. Even the great hands of the third baseman Beltre couldn't get to it.
So Cayespo will try to extend the inning. And that's probably not going to happen. Beltre has it. Shortway side retired, and we are through 6 at the Coliseum. It's the Rangers 4 and the A's 1. FIA World Touring Car Championship returns to Sonoma September 7th and 8th. It's this weekend, folks. For tickets, go to racesonoma.com. So you can head up there, come to the ballpark. These will have the Houston Astros in town. So it is a busy weekend. Think about it. So you got the Raceway up there. You got the A's home. The Giants are home this weekend. And the 49ers open against the Packers. So
who?
Stanford and Cal are both home on Saturday.
Who are the 49ers playing?
The Packers. So there's a lot going on. America's Cup in the city. Wow. That's a good weekend of sports if you're into that.
In what order, though, is it a great weekend? Is that the Packers, 49ers? Packers, probably, right?
Sure. Yeah. No, you know what? You know what the best is? Green and gold. It's a big weekend for the green and gold.
Which one?
Right here at the Coliseum.
That's right. So the Packers are where?
San Francisco.
Green and gold.
Plenty of options for the sports fans of the Bay Area. 1-2 to Jurickson Profar. He's had a good night. A sacrifice bunt. He's got an RBI double, and he scored a run in the 5th. The Earthquakes, great San Jose Earthquakes, they're at home on Sunday as well. Santa Clara. So you may want to plan ahead, traffic-wise.
Well, the good news, the bridge is open.
You know what? Yeah, they opened that bridge just at the right time. Profar stays alive. Kinsler to follow, and then Beltre here in the top of the 7th inning.
Good curveball, but Suzuki could not hang on. Not surprised. That's a tough one to hang on to.
And that one is line to center, and that's a base hit for Jurickson Profar. So the youngster has his second hit.
Now batting, number 5, Ian Kinsler.
Well, we've heard so much about Profar the last couple of years. In some people's minds, the #1 prospect in all of baseball. Now he's in the big leagues. There's Kinsler.
You were talking about maybe trying to make him an outfielder, but he can play different positions. But when Nelson Cruz started to serve his suspension, there was talk. Gary Pettis been working with Profar in the outfield a little bit, but he is pretty much locked in the infield, especially since he got Rios.
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing, Ray. Profar is 20 years old. He will not be 21 till next spring training, February 20th. Kinsler tries to hold up. He can't, and it's called a strike, and it's a strikeout, and Profar goes to second. So Chris Guccione, he called it right away. So everybody was aware of what was the call.
Well, unfortunately, watching Kurt Suzuki try to catch it, and then he's talking to Chavez, and somehow it crossed up, and it did stay close, but because it was the curveball, it looked like Zook was looking for a fastball because he just kind of snapped at it, tried to trap it. Remember when he's going to be given a pass ball? Remember when Zook joined the club, he spent a lot of time in the bullpen catching the pitchers he had not caught before. Now, Cologne tonight, last year, he'd caught 19 of the 20 starts that Cologne started. And without a runner at second base, it's very rare to see a cross-up. But he was crossed up, and a pass ball was given on a curveball that was not handled by Suzuki.
A little bit outside to Adrian Beltre. 0 for 3 for Beltre. He did drive in a run with the ground out in the 5th inning. And a pitch to hit, and he fouled it back.
As I mentioned, I think this is when the bullpen really takes a lot of pride in their work and getting a chance to pitch and trying to keep zeros on the board. trying to hope the offense can come back. And now Chavez, after a base hit, has a runner in scoring position. He has to get the tough hitter out.
So Profar at second. Brzezinski is in the on-deck circle. One hit to the right side and foul. Breaking ball from Jesse Chavez. Maybe a cut fastball.
Not want to give Beltre too many opportunities with runners in scoring position.
Now he's had a few in this series. Choice coming in. He's got it. So Beltre is retired. He's 0 for 4.
A's Fiesta Day driven by Chevrolet. Sunday, September the 8th, beginning at 10 a.m. in the parking lot A. The pregame Fiesta will feature a Chevrolet ride and drive, live lucha libre and wrestling, autograph session with Yoenis Cespedes. Also 10,000 fans receive a Cespedes rally scarf driven by Chevrolet. Pregame and in-game entertainment inside the Coliseum will feature Latin music, dancers, and more. For tickets and information, visit oaklandathletics.com/fiesta.
Should be a fun day. Brzezinski swings at the first pitch, slices one down toward the bullpen. And the count is 0-1.
I want a Yoenis Cespedes scarf.
Do you?
Yeah. I think that would be
for the cooler winter months. When you're out jogging. You'd be in Arizona.
jogging.
Warm.
With these legs, these knees, no way.
It's all right. My partner's in good shape. He works out hard. I wish I could work out as much as you do. I'm lazy. Lazy. You make me look bad. Pedro Figueroa starts to throw. And now 1-2 to Brzezinski.
Jesse Chavez, and just go back earlier in the season against the Yankees, at 18-inning game, he was outstanding, and he is a good pitcher. He works hard, has an outstanding curveball, plus the little cutter he threw.
And that one in the dirt. Suzuki really scrambled to make a nice play there.
Great anticipation. If you know what pitch is coming, he did not know when he boxed the ball. This time he knew the ball was coming. The curveball was, and it was in the dirt. He blocked it perfectly.
Brzezinski, another broken bat. This one will go into the glove of Lowry. Side retired. So leadoff single by Profar, nothing else. 7th inning stretch coming up, 4-1 Rangers. Chris Young's going to lead it off. He'll be followed by Suzuki and Choice. So the A's trail by 3 with 3 at-bats left. Martin Perez with 74 pitches through 6 innings goes back to work. A's only run in the game scored 3 batters into the bottom of the first. A double by Crisp. Donaldson, fly ball, got Crisp to third, and Lowry with the sacrifice fly. A's have not scored since. Ray, I forgot to mention this when I said the Pirates won tonight. You'll know what I'm talking about. It was their 81st win of the year.
Oh, congratulations.
There you go. So the Pirates snap a streak of 20 consecutive losing seasons with their 81st win tonight.
But they could care less about the winning season this year, considering, and really last year, they had a good season to begin under Clint Hurdle, but
they faded at the end. One to Young. Certainly looks like the Pirates will make it to the postseason.
Well, they have definitely made some moves. Buck and Bird initially, and then Justin Morneau lately, and Jason Grilli is back, the closer, who are on the DL.
Oh, they got a 2-game lead in the NL Central. Center field, and that's going to drop for a hit. So Chris Young has his first hit. That's the 8th hit for the A's.
So much for the line drives that are caught. Might as well break a bat and get a hit. Off the end of the bat, change up, and
number 22.
Excellent job with the infield, 3 to the left, and this one into center field. Chris Young lined out hard to right field. Another ball that was hit to straightaway center field that was tracked down, but very fast jump for us. So Chris Young starting at center tonight. You know, I asked him about trying to score from home on the ball in center field. He said, it's been a long time since I tried that. And it's not easy. Not easy at all. He said, when you don't have your stride and you're close to a bag, you're in trouble. Had a break stride, couldn't get back, and
that's Tanner Shepard who's starting. Well, think about this. How many times in a season does a player go home to home?
Zero.
Exactly.
It's not a planned occurrence.
It hardly ever happens.
I mean, the inside the park home runs are very rare.
Yeah, you see a couple a year at the most.
Mike Geigo did try to stop it, but to no avail. And Chris Young just said, I thought I could make it. And as he approached home plate about 30 feet, he said, I knew I wasn't. But you mentioned this, a guy with speed.
Yep.
Mike Gallego realized it's the case yesterday afternoon, but and tonight Josh Donaldson did not watch him, and as a result was out of the plate.
So 2-1 to Suzuki. And that one called a strike, a changeup. Suzuki can't believe it. And the count is 2-2.
I think Zook might have been just as mad as himself for not swinging. He might have been looking for it and started, but then probably more upset that it was called a strike.
A little bit low.
Yes, it was.
Even across that front knee, it was low. And now full count. Michael Choice waits in the on-deck circle.
Ron Washington knows that Bob Melvin has an abundance of lefties on the bench. One in particular, the American League Player of the Week, Brandon Moss. So if Shepard comes in, you might see at least if it occurs with Choice. That might be the case, although Michael Choice might be left in, or Perez might be left in.
And this one is skied to shallow center. Kinsler says he's got it, and then Rios ends up making the catch, goes down to one knee. So Suzuki a long battle and ends up popping out to shallow right field.
Kinsler hands up, and of course he heard Rios coming in. That's when he stopped, hit the ground.
So here's Choice, who has struck out and had an infield single, and that was his first major league hit. Choice hit a little roller down the third base line that Perez picked up. His throw was just a bit high. Choice, who has good speed. Michael Choice went to the University of Texas Arlington, and he was a Ranger guy growing up.
Yes, he was.
Big fan.
Fort Worth looking forward to the next road trip for the A's to take him home. Not only the family he mentioned was watching him yesterday as we talked to him after the game. He said a lot of folks watching back home as this game being televised back at the Metroplex by the Rangers. Tag. Tom Brady.
That's right.
I don't know his tag. Steve.
To some people.
That's what Steve Vucinic said. He said, you know, everybody knows his tag. And I said, no.
No, he's Tom Does.
Tom Does.
Tom's fun to talk to. Good baseball guy. And that one on the inside corner. Good pitch by Perez. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. So 1-2 with Crisp waiting in the on-deck circle. Close pitches. Has went right back in there. Shepers, the reliever, is just standing down in the bullpen now. He's loosened up and ready to go. Pitch number 90 coming up. And it's in the dirt. Choice swings and misses. And the runner at first Choice is going to be out. And that is strikeout number 5.
Well, they've seen some change-ups from the lefty and then a hard slider that he just saw again. But with first base occupied, he was not allowed to run. He could run, but he could not occupy first since Chris Young was already there and only one out. But hard slider and an adjustment a young player is going to have to make. Normally you see a lot of fastballs as a young player. And then you start to make an adjustment when you see a lot of breaking pitches, but he is not seeing a lot of fastballs tonight.
So 2 outs now for Coco Crisp. Breaking ball for a strike. Coco has doubled and scored. He's grounded to third. He has struck out looking. 2 for 7 in the series. Sinker that drops low. this about Craig Gentry, Ray. We talk a lot about his speed. He's a very good outfielder. Wow, is he playing deep?
Well, that's why he almost missed Cespedes' fly ball, because it was off the end of the bat, and he had to sprint, like you said, to get to it.
Man, he is deep. That's as deep as the center fielder plays.
Well, he's playing no home runs.
Wow.
That's surprising to see the left field and right fielder playing much more shallow than he is in center. I expect with his speed that it would be just the opposite.
Well, and listen, Trumbo's got 17 home runs, but I don't know that you would play him like he's a full-fledged power hitter.
How many of those 17 is it straight away center?
That's right.
I think more down the line in right field, left field. Yesterday afternoon, back down the line, a foul ball.
This one to shallow center, and Gentry has it. Side retired. Leadoff hit by Young, but again, the A's can do nothing with it. So we're on to the A's. Still 4-1 Rangers. Rewind, best play of the night. One of the best plays of the year. That was to end the 6th inning. Donaldson grabs it, tumbles over the top. Make sure everybody knows he's got it. Little help from the fans. And a sensational play by Donaldson a couple innings ago. Top of the 8th, Rios, Moreland, Baker. The 3 hitters against Jesse Chavez. Rios rips one to center. Young is going back, still going back. Gone. Rios hits number 14 to a deep part of the ballpark, and it's 5-1 Rangers.
Well, he's capable, and he got a fastball supposed to be in, and not where Jesse Chavez wanted it. Uppercut swing, Alex Rios, who White Sox. Just before that, the Blue Jays, but Chris Young couldn't get it.
So when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune Up, your oil change, tune up, and smog experts. Figueroa coming in.
is brought to you by Xfinity, home of the most live sports, and by Toyota. Do the math and save at your local Toyota dealer.
Alex Rios just homered, his 14th of the year, so the Rangers extend their lead to 5-1. So Pedro Figueroa comes in. He'll face the left-handed hitting Mitch Moreland.
One of the best arms in the organization, and he perfects the strike zone. It's going to be very tough to hit. First fastball at 94.
Pitched in 19 games for the A's last year. First time in the big leagues this year. Moreland has a home run in this game. Moreland and Rios have homered for the Rangers. So 95 miles an hour from Figueroa. Three and one.
That's what I mentioned. Good arm, just around the strike zone would really help. Because you throw that hard, it's almost like you just want to say down the middle, try to hit it.
Yeah, that one a high strike. Well, in Sacramento this year, Figueroa 59 innings. He walked 33 and struck out 49, so that's a fairly high walk total. Payoff pitch, and that one sliced foul. Heads up in the A's bullpen. A few more targets down there now with the added guys.
It's got to be an unusual space for Brett Anderson.
Yeah, he's still getting used to it. That one driven to left center field. And Cespedes is over there to cut it off. Moreland's going to try for two, and he's just going to get in there with a leadoff double. So a nice job of hitting by Mitch Moreland against a hard-throwing left-hander who probably hasn't seen a whole lot of. He goes the other way. Shift was on.
To the outfield though, he goes that direction, and for Cespedes, if he had not done that, I don't know that Moreland even tries to go to second, but close play. Cespedes could not keep his feet as it planted, and as he came up, made a strong throw, but Moreland was thinking two all the way at least, rounding first, and made it easily, or at least relatively easy after the slip.
So if you're the base runner, you run hard to first, and when
right.
you round first, you're looking right in that direction.
Good base runners, good hitters think double every time they hit a ball. Just see the great shot of Willie Mays as he rounded first base and rounded so aggressively it always slide to stop himself. Always thinking about going to second. But I mean, that's the way you play it, because all it takes is a bobble, in this case a slip by Cespedes, and get the extra base.
3-0 now to Baker. Scribner starts to loosen up. On deck hitter Joey Butler, a right-handed hitter, has come out into the on deck circle. That's Murphy's spot. And a fastball a little bit inside, and it's a walk.
Scribner might be warming up loose for this reason. We'll see what Bob Millman's going to do. He's waiting for the announcement.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for Texas, batting for David Murphy, number 20, Joey Butler.
So Joey Butler's going to hit, and he's going to face Evan Scribner. So that'll be the matchup when we come back. Rangers with the run in, and they're looking for more. Comcast Sportsnet California's Authentic Fan Fridays at the Coliseum. This Friday, get a ticket in our value deck behind home plate, an Authentic A's flag, a cheer card, and a $6 food and drink voucher, all for what a great price. Best deal in Bay Area baseball is Comcast Sportsnet's Authentic Fan Friday. Log on to csncalifornia.com for details. That gentleman's in the value deck. He's right above us. And he's been beating that drum since about 6:15 this evening. Why? So he's a good fan. He's into it. Right there. And we've been hearing him loud and clear.
Adam Rosales pinch hitting for the pinch hitter Butler. And I guess Butler can't bunt because he's talking to Gary Pettis. Evan Scribner trying to get out of this inning. Adam Rosales attempted upon the first pitch.
So what you're saying is we just got a Joey Butler scouting report.
Well, he was talking to Gary Pettis, and maybe he said, "Are you going to give me the bunt?" He said, "Yes." He said, "I don't know how." So watch. Put somebody in.
New guy. We got a big roster. 1-1 to Rosales. Pulls the bat back. Now 2-1. Well, it's very strange seeing Adam Rosales in a different uniform.
Spent a lot of time waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting for things to happen.
Misses that one. Pitch may have been a little bit outside and low. He kind of poked at it, and now the count is 2-2. Moreland at second. Baker at first. And here's the 2-2 pitch. Rosales swinging away. He hits one to the backstop.
You know, Kuypen, a big Rangers fan, and we're down in Arlington, sits about halfway up behind the Rangers dugout. And he has that same, whatever that thing that they bang on. But he doesn't do it as often as the A's fan here. He does it, I guess, for a Ranger rally.
Okay. In the air to center. Young grabs it. So Rosales cannot get the runners over. He ends up popping out.
I think our friend upstairs is trying to put a hole in his. Keep beating on as much as he could.
The guy from Cleveland.
John Adams. So John, his is planned. It's only in a rally for the tribe.
That's right.
It's not.
See, he's getting antsy already. He has not hit that drum for about 12 seconds. He's getting a little antsy. And that little guy, he's doing just fine.
"12 seconds are up."
Here's Gentry. Big curve from Scribner, and it's in first round. Rios led off the inning with a home run. Then a double, a walk, and then Rosales popped out.
Scribner has the great curveball that he just threw, and of course the Rangers remember him. Game 162 last year. Great job that he did.
So he's ahead of Gentry. Gentry, 2 singles, and reached on an error and hit a fly ball to right field. Not heard if there was a reason why Leonis Martin was not playing tonight, the center fielder. Don't know if he was injured at all. He's been the everyday leadoff man and center fielder for a while now. Just getting the night off.
Well, he said that if he'd come up with the ball, he thought he was going to be able to throw out Cayespo on Chris Young's base hit. But it's kind of hard to catch the ball if you look up to see where the runner is, and it bounced over his glove, and then he fell down chasing it and gets the night off.
Breaking ball, and Gentry is able to just barely tick it.
I think that Scribner does so well with his curveball. He can throw it hard, and the ball hit the plate. Suzuki had no chance. I don't think it would have counted if he had caught the ball after it hit the plate.
Young has a beat on this one. Moreland bluffs the tag. So that's out number 2. So Scribner has come in and got 2 outs. He'll try to get Profar and get the A's back in the dugout.
Now batting, number 13, Jurickson Profar.
The Twins beat the Astros 9-6 in 12 innings in Houston. So the Astros lost their 93rd game. There's that big curve, and it drops right in their first strike.
Well, we have to remember the Astros will be in town Thursday for 4 games to close out the homestand. And those will be 4 big games.
Inside, well, the Astros, the last time they were here, they won 2 out of 3, and they played pretty darn good baseball.
There's a former Astro, Jed Lowry, who was acquired from Houston before spring training.
That one to the backstop. It comes right back to Suzuki, but not before both runners can move on.
That should be a wild pitch as it got under the glove. Kurt trying to backhand the ball again. Scribner, probably one that he's not caught.
So it is a wild pitch. That one a curveball again. This one rolled foul. Profar is 2 for 3 with a single, a double, a sacrifice, an RBI, and a run score. So the young man has had a good ball game tonight. High fastball. Profar thought about going after it. So it's been Colon, Blevins, Chavez, Figueroa, and Scribner. 5 pitchers for the A's tonight. there's the walk. Profar has a pretty good at bat, and he gets a walk. So now the bases are loaded for Kinsler.
Almost after the wild pitch, moving the runners second and third, it was kind of pitch him carefully and take the chance with the veteran Ian Kinsler. He's a pretty good hitter.
No place to put Kinsler, and the first pitch is a fastball that runs inside. Kinsler is 2 for 4, 2 singles, a run scored, and 2 strikeouts. And that one's hit down the right field line. It's a long run for Choice, and Choice makes the catch. A step into foul territory. Side retired. So the Rangers get a home run from Rios. They leave the bases loaded. 5-1 Texas. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. A couple of home runs in this game by the Rangers. Moreland, solo shot in the 4th inning. That was his 22nd. Rios connected in the top of the 8th inning. That was his 14th. There's also a 3-run inning in the 5th inning for the Rangers. And Martin Perez was good tonight. 7 innings. Gave up just 1 run, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. So the young left-hander will watch the rest of this one from the dugout, see if his bullpen can get him a win. The A's still have a couple shots. Tanner Scheppers comes in. And Scheppers is going to give up a base runner. That's going to be Donaldson, who's hustling for second and is going to be in there. He came off the bag momentarily. So Rios made a dive, could not come up with it, and he's got something started here in the 8th inning.
Well, the ball sinking fast as Donaldson to right center, as he did in his second at bat where he doubled to right field, and Rios just a slight hesitation, maybe just enough that he could not come up with it, and tried to backhand it, never really had a glove on it, and his body stopped it from going past him. Double all the way, and Josh Donaldson does get something started in the 8th inning. That's never know. Maybe Evan Scribner getting out of a bases loaded jam top of the inning inspired the A's offensively.
First pitch to Lowry is a strike in the inside corner. Lowry, a sacrifice fly. Fly ball to right and a pop out to first. Swing and a miss. 96 miles an hour from Shepard. 5-12-0 for the Rangers, 1-9-1 for the A's. Cologne went 5 innings, gave up 4 runs, but just 1 earned. His own error got a rally going for the Rangers. And that was the inning they scored 3 times. Towards center, Martin goes back. Donaldson tags, but he's not going anywhere. So Lowry is 0 for 3, and that's out number 1. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Oil Change Tune-Up and Spawn experts. Tanner Shepard, a very fine season. He's been a workhorse. 61st game. 6-2 with a 2.08 ERA. So he's been an important part of the Rangers bullpen.
His major league debut here at the Coliseum last year, and Brandon Moss took him deep in his first game. Does throw well, good fastball.
Inside to Cespedes, 1-0. Cespedes is 2 for 3. And 4 for 7 in the series for Cespedes. A home run. Swung at a ball there. Gentry is now in left field. Leonis Martin, there's Gentry in left. And Martin comes in the game and he's in center. So Martin will hit in the 9th spot. That's Murphy's spot. And Kinsler makes a nice play and he throws to first to get Cespedes. He had a long way to go, and he had a little short hop, and he took care of it. And on the play, Donaldson wasn't sure if that ball was going to be caught in the air, so he had to stay at second base. Probably the right thing to do.
Well, in the air, you're right, and it was short hop. That's how close Kinsler came to catching the ball. And Kinsler, good second baseman, made a nice play.
So here's Moss. He's going to hit for Fryman. So Moss steps in, the reigning American League Player of the Week. He swings and misses. Good fastball. So Fryman goes 1 for 3 tonight. Fastball up and in this time. So Shepard's a hard thrower at 96. Neil Kotz, a left-hander, starts to throw. Caspo waits in the on-deck circle. Rays are still leading the Angels 7-1 in the 8th inning. There's the fastball. He's coming right at Moss with heaters. 4 straight fastballs, all 95, 96 miles an hour.
Staying a little bit inside, and Moss actually on that approach, he had a little bit more of a closed stance. He does close after an exaggerated open stance.
And he stayed with the hard stuff, and that one at 97 miles an hour, and Moss strikes outside, retired. 9th inning coming up. 5-1. Rangers lead.
Challenger slot tournaments. Free entry daily from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Visit cashcreek.com for details. Play of the night by Donaldson. He hung on, folks. And it's 5-1. The Rangers lead, and it is the 9th inning.
I'm just shocked that Baker tagged on that, because you think he would just stand there and admire a great play by a third baseman.
I know. I looked up. I was surprised that.
How can you not appreciate the great effort that you would actually want to tag? Smart play.
Broken bat towards center. Young is there. Beltre is retired for out number 1. Beltre 0 for 5. He does have an RBI. So out number 1 here in the top of the 9th. Here's Brzezinski.
Number 12, A.J. Brzezinski.
Joe Nathan, the closer, is starting to throw. So not a safe situation. Nathan looks like he's going to pitch the 9th. Big curve in for a strike. 1-1. Brzezinski 1 for 4 with an RBI single. Good pitch there. 1-2. On the ground to short. Lowry charges. And that's out number 2.
You can see why the A's like the arm of Evan Scribner, the way he pitched last year and has pitched throughout this season.
Number 51.
You know, when a player has the old option, that can be detrimental in a sense, because if you have an option, there are times that maybe you get sent out, and Evan Scribner has had an option, or has one more option, which he's used this year. We'll see what happens in the future, but he's a good pitcher, especially be able to handle the role out of the bullpen, long relief.
Well, if you're out of options and the team sends you down, you got to pass through waivers, and another team could grab you.
That's right. But how many times where you see there's, say, 2 players and one has options,
no question,
and the other doesn't? They don't want to lose the one that doesn't, so the player who has an option or options will be the odd man out. The numbers game, as they call it.
Welcome to spring training, huh?
That's right. Derek Barton knows. There's Pat Neshek recently. I mean, that's kind of the designated. He cleared waivers and stayed in the A's organization, so he is back down in the A's bullpen.
Foul ball by Rios.
Okay, next time you have your pass, sit down in the left field corner. Don't put him above you.
I know. I didn't think he was going to pick up my tickets, and he did.
No drum allowed, huh?
And there's a line drive to right field, and that's a base hit for Rios. Rios has had a good series. We've seen him do a lot of that right there. Shoots it the other way. Pretty good job of hitting.
Maybe even off the plate a little bit. He took the fastball middle of the plate in, hit a home run to left center, and he waits a long time. Has kind of an uppercut swing, and nice addition to the Rangers.
So here's Moreland, who's got 2 hits, a homer and a double. Callaspo, Young, and Suzuki in the bottom of the 9th inning for the Athletics. Well, the shift is on for Moreland, and he takes a strike.
Moreland has also struck out and hit a fly ball to left field. Big curve, rolled foul to the far end of the dugout. Elvis Andrus, who keeping himself busy. He's probably not used to sitting on the bench 3 games in a row.
Got a stiff back. I hope he didn't go over and pick up the baseball. Maybe trying to show Ron Washington his back was okay and wants to be in the lineup tomorrow.
So 1-2 with 2 outs and Rios aboard here at the top of the ninth. Another curveball and again fouled at the plate. Just missed. First pitch. So 13 hits now for the Rangers. They had 8 hits last night. Line foul. Headed toward the bullpen, but a nice play. Protect the relievers when they're warming up. It's a simple job. Well executed by the ball boy down there.
He's ready. Double ear flap. He's down in the set position, and that's what you like to see. You like to see a gamer down in the bullpen.
He's taking his job seriously, at least. So full count. Rios will be on the move. Moss backs up, and here's the pitch, and it's fouled straight back.
There's Pat Neshek. He is back, and Steve Vucinich keeps all the uniforms and just brings them out of the.
So we'll do the 3-2 again. And it's low, and it's a walk for Moreland. So a long at bat. Moreland ends up with the walk. How's our guy doing? There he is. He's still here. And again, we just want you to know just how close he is to all of us here in the booth. And there we are.
Your attention, please.
We love that guy.
Ladies and gentlemen.
He's awesome.
For
Right
Texas, batting for Baker, number 35.
But you know, you're
We're
supposed
guessing
Adducey.
15 feet.
The thing is, all that noise is supposed to be occurring when the A's are up. You know, that's to try to get the rally going for the A's, and I think they're just
Noise? What noise?
kind
What are you
of
talking
trying
about,
to
Ray?
inspire the Rangers here. You know, that's not what good A's fans do. Let's see, they quieted it down. Maybe they realize somebody told them you're only supposed to do it with the A's now.
Boy. Jim Adducci is the pinch hitter for the Rangers, left-handed hitter. Pitch is low to Adducci. Adducci in the big leagues for the first time, but not a youngster. He's 28 years old. So he's been around. Must be a special month for him, being in the middle of a pennant race. British Columbia. Major League service 2 days. He's got service time.
That's right.
Big swing and a miss, and that will do. A couple of runners stranded. So we're going to the bottom of the ninth. Work to do for the A's, and they'll have to do it against Joe Nathan. Starts, and in the A's and the Rangers wrapping up this 3-game series. Parker and Darvish, terrific pitching matchup. Darvish 12-6, Parker 10-6. And again, we'll come your way at 12:30. Complete A's coverage every night on Sportsnet Central and CSNCalifornia.com. The home of A's baseball is Comcast Sportsnet. So day baseball on a Wednesday afternoon from the Coliseum. Join us for that. So Cayaspo to lead it off against Joe Nathan. So Ron Washington needs a W. He brings the closer in. And Nathan pumps a fastball for a strike to Cayaspo, who's 1 for 3. Young to follow, and then Suzuki here in the bottom of the ninth. Time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change tune-up and smog experts. 38 saves for Nathan this year, and a very fine 1.51 ERA. Seth Smith has a bat, so he's gonna, looks like he's gonna hit at some point in this inning.
Well, Darvish a right-hander tomorrow. That means the A's could possibly use their left-handed hitting lineup, which might include Seth Smith as a DH or maybe in the outfield.
And the A's are going to have a leadoff man aboard. It was a kick save by Nathan, but he kicked it into shallow left field.
And if he let it go, it might have been an out. But by kicking it, deflected it to where his shortstop had vacated. It wasn't hit that hard. A hard slider, and there's a kick save, and the shortstop Profar was going up the middle. See where the Profar is playing, and that ball was going to be probably caught by Profar, but instead it's into shallow left field.
So maybe the start of something as Chris Young steps in.
I like your confidence, partner.
Try it.
It's the best way to look at it.
I was going to say, well, this kind of game, you know, maybe if you don't come all the way back, you get their closer in the game.
That's right.
Well, he's in the game.
A lot of pitches.
High fastball, swing and a miss by Young.
In a game like this, you usually say, well, you score enough to where the closer has to come in. Well, he starts the inning because Wash wants to try to complete the win, maybe also to give him some work. But either way, Joe Nathan, the closer, is in the game. Could only be good for the A's.
But you're right. If you're the A's, whatever the outcome of this game is, outside of coming back to win it, the best thing you can do is make Nathan throw a whole bunch of pitches. And that's not out of the question. Bit outside, 1-2.
And I think it's not surprising to see managers, the case for the righty pitcher tomorrow, lefties on the bench, gives them a chance to get it at bat before tomorrow's game. I think Bob Melvin would prefer to have the lead and not have to worry about that. But never know what can happen.
Ball bounced foul. Darvish and Parker. That should be a dandy tomorrow. Darvish has been very good this year, but he has not been good against the A's. He's did a pretty good job against you, Darvish. And Jared Parker, well, he's been terrific for about 4 months now.
It's the hard slider that Joe Nathan tries to get hitters to chase. The battery in Minneapolis, the Twins, the Nathan Krasinski battery.
Up and in, 3-2. So Smith has come out, and that is Suzuki's spot. This one is popped up, and it's going to be just below us.
David hit the guy that drum the kid to catch it. Use his drum to catch it.
You don't want to ruin the drum. Big Bears in the house.
No, you don't need help on that. That is not a strike. That is not a strike. That's brutal. 3-2. Nathan's trying to get him to swing. Chris Young, very disciplined, does not swing. That's horrible.
Your attention,
That
please.
looked like Chad Fairchild the other day. Slider, and it's really a swing pitch. And Krasinski bringing the target up with a catcher's mitt up, which is ridiculous because he's not, at least should not be getting any with a call like that. But that's a bad call.
Well, here's Seth Smith pinch hitting for Suzuki. Sogard has come out into the on-deck circle for choice. So the A's need base runners. And the first pitch is outside. Caspo is aboard with the leadoff single. Smith rolls it foul on a fastball. Smith, as a pinch hitter this year, is 1 for 6. That one hit was a home run. And with his A's in the National League, he's as best suited to pinch hit as anybody.
Didn't 07 for sure. If the Rockies.
Pitch number 15 coming up for Nathan. Tapped at the plate. 1-2 now to Smith. So the Rays ended up beating the Angels 7-1. The Rays struggling, but they get a much needed win. Game 2 of that series after getting pounded last night by the Angels. Foul back. Matt Moore came back off the disabled list for the Rays tonight, so that's a big deal for them. He's very good, left-handed starter. So the Rays are thrilled to get him back. One and two. Nathan's ready. Callaspo leading at first. And the pitch, shallow right center, and that's going to be a base hit. So Smith hangs in there against Nathan, and he's got a base hit, and now there are 2 on and 1 out.
Well, that strikeout of Young's looking very big, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow.
Kind of what you were afraid of.
Yeah, exactly. And Nathan left the fastball up. Seth Smith going very well. Fouled off a tough pitch, and then get a better one to hit.
So Sogard will hit for choice.
A's need base runners. Sogard knows that. He's got the hot Coco Crisp, the on deck circle, Donaldson, and then goes back to top the batting order.
In the dirt, 1-0.
Okay, when Nathan throws a slider, it does look like a split finger fastball, but he throws it to try to get hitters to chase it. It's really rarely thrown for a strike. Even when he recorded his 300th save, it was a hard slider that everybody thought was a ball. It should have been, but it's called a strike. But it's just that hitters are patient. They don't swing when they see spin. More likely than not, it's going to be a ball.
Sogard bumps it. Nathan picks it up, throws to first, and they get Sogard for out number 2. So Sogard just trying to get on base and get that tying run to the plate. But he cannot do it on the bunt. So Crisp will hit.
And he just bunted it too hard. He's trying to get it down the third base line, but Nathan handled it well.
So Coco steps in, final hope.
I'd like to see Donaldson come up with a potential tying run. The way he swings,
got action.
The way he could do something special, he might just do it. So good Coco, like Sogard, trying to get on base, trying to keep it going.
Pitch is a bit low. Beltre is actually a step onto the grass. As Coco's of the mindset that Sogard was. Anything to get on base and get that tying run to the plate. And that one a fastball on the outside corner, first strike. 24 hits combined in the game, 13 by the Rangers, 11 by the Athletics. So now 2-1. Well, 22 pitches, and Nathan's not out of the inning yet.
Donaldson would love a chance.
And he will get it if Coco can get a more. Good swing there. And Donaldson grabs the foul ball off the net. 2-2 the count. This is the last game still going on in baseball. No surprise there. It's been a long game. Pitch, and Coco did not go, says Phil Cuzzy. That was close. Coco stays alive, and the count is 3-2. And that's a swing, folks. So we're even.
Yes, it was.
Bad call on Chris Young.
And why was Brzezinski tagging Coco? Because the ball never hit the ground. And it appeared immediately might have gotten it, but did not.
3-2 pitch. Foul left side.
And the fact that Coco didn't completely chase, although could have been called out. And Nathan going to the fastball with the first 3-2.
Nathan's ready from the stretch. And this one's popped up. Beltre racing over near the seats, and Beltre cannot catch it. He got there. And Coco has to be feeling good in this at-bat.
That's right. Twice. Beltre, the ball does come back into play a little bit more. Beltre just overran it, then popped up and hit it. Might have hit him in the face, but reached out and then came straight. No, hit his hand before it got up, fortunately.
So we'll do 3-2 again. Pitch number 27 coming up from Nathan. And here it is. And it's a swing and a miss, and that's the ball game. A 3-2 slider, and Coco strikes out. So the A's strand a pair in the bottom of the ninth, but the Rangers win game 2 of this series. 5-1 is your final, so the Rangers grab first place back. They now have a 1-game lead. Rubber game of the series will be tomorrow. It'll be Parker and Darvish. We'll have it for you starting at 12:30 here in Comcast Sportsnet, California. Once again, the final score tonight in game 2 of the series. The Texas Rangers 5 and the Oakland Athletics 1. You've been watching A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Don't go away. A's Postgame Live with Scott Reese, Shooty Babbitt, and Bip Roberts starts right now.